Good morning, everyone. I have a new video for you today on 10 signs that he's really not into you. I talk with women all the time who tell me about a new relationship that they just started, and they so want to know if he is into them or not. So today, I'm going to share with you 10 signs that he's really not into you. And then next week, we will tell you more about what it looks like when he is into you. But you're going to get a lot of hints today about what that might look like. So today, I'm going to start with number one. And number one is that you constantly feel like you are on guard with him. You just don't feel quite right. You're thinking that something's not quite right. You feel like you have to act a certain way, dress a certain way. You're not feeling any sense of whether or not he's enjoying it or having a good time when you're on a date or doing any activity. You just don't feel at ease and you just don't feel like yourself. So the second one is you feel like you're on a seesaw. And the seesaw that I'm talking about is a seesaw of emotions, not the fun seesaws on a playground. So how that really works out is that you feel like one day you are having a great time with him, everything is going perfectly, and you are over the moon happy. And you think, wow, this might really be working out. And then the next week or a few days later, you're feeling like crying because he's not communicating with you. He's either not talking to you or he's being critical or something happened that just puts you in this frame of mind of thinking, wow, I don't even really know what happened. And you start to get in your head and you start to replay what happened on your last date, and you start second guessing yourself and thinking, what did I say? What did I do? What went wrong? I don't understand. And you really start blaming yourself when in reality, it's most likely not you. So the third thing on the list is he makes you feel like you're not good enough. And this really breaks my heart when I talk to coaching clients and they tell me these stories about how the man in their life has made them feel like they can't do anything right. And this happened to me. I was married to someone who actually, many, many years ago, who actually made me feel like I wasn't smart enough, I wasn't good enough, and I never quite measured up. And obviously that marriage ended, thankfully. And now I've been married for 14 plus years to a man who loves and adores me and would never, ever make me feel like I'm not good enough. So if this guy that you're dating or in a relationship with is acting that way, I really want you to think about that and think about whether or not this guy is the one for you. Because when a man can do that, he's insecure and he's emotionally really not very mature, and he's probably not really into you, or he would never act like that. So the next one on my list to see, we're on number 4, is when you are in this relationship, you feel like you're losing yourself. Maybe you're not even spending any time with your friends, and you're losing your friendships. You're losing your sense of self, mainly because you're trying to morph into the person that you think he wants to be. Now, this is something that you really want to stop doing, because your man, actually, the one who's really for you, a really great guy, really wants you to be your authentic self. And he's not trying to make you into anyone else. And he loves you for you. And so I don't want you to lose the sense of yourself, because you can't sustain that. And I know women who try to sustain that, and it's just not workable over the long term. And you're going to be really unhappy that you did that, because you're going to feel so bad about yourself. And that's not how you should be feeling in a relationship. So let's see, number 5. Oh my gosh, this is a big one. And again, this is really heartbreaking when I hear this one. You have a nagging feeling that you just can't trust this guy. And maybe because he's already lied to you. But here's the thing. I want you to trust your instincts. If you feel like you can't trust someone, usually it's because you can't. Now, unless, of course, this is just who you are and you've decided nobody's trustworthy, which you're going to need to deal with that. Because there are plenty of great people in the world. There are plenty of great guys that are trustworthy. But if you've met this guy, you really need to sit yourself down and ask yourself why you have this nagging feeling that you can't trust him. Because if you can't trust him now, believe me, he's not going to fall madly in love with you and suddenly become trustworthy. I know you think that, or some women think that, oh, he will love me so much because I'm going to love him so much that he's going to change and, he would never do these things. Well, that's probably not going to happen. So number 6 is that you've become discounted. And some people today talk about that as gaslighting. And if you're being gaslighted, it means one of the things that shows up is he discounts your feelings. He doesn't care about how you feel about anything. He's trying to get you to accept all of his views and to feel about things the way he feels about them. And when you're upset, he tells you that you're being silly or it's not important and that you don't need to feel however you feel. That is a big sign, ladies. And that is not something, again, that's sustainable in a relationship because that's going to wear you down in ways that you can't even imagine right now. So a man who's really into you is certainly not going to discount your feelings. Number 7 is that he's way too wrapped up in appearances. He may not even have the financial means to have the car he drives or the clothes he wears or the jewelry he wears or the activities that he is involved in because he's too wrapped up in appearances and he's overly invested in your appearance. Now, a real man, of course, is going to appreciate how you look. However, he's not going to try to dictate to you what to do with your hair, what kind of clothes to wear, what nail polish you should wear, or if you should wear any. He's not going to do that if he really is falling for the real you. So I would beware of a guy who's doing this. Number 8's a big one too, in that you have a long list of things about him that you want to change. Now look, I understand that sometimes we want to shift a guy's behavior a little bit, and that's okay if it's minor stuff and he has to learn a few things. But if you want to change this long list of things about him, you want him to change his job, you want him to change the way he talks, you want him to change what his interests are, you want him to get rid of all of his friends. Listen, this is a fool's errand because you don't want him to want to change all those things about you. So you're probably just with the wrong guy in this case. Number 9, you don't have enough shared values. Wow. Now, in the beginning of a relationship, you're going to begin to learn what this guy's values are. And I would suggest that you really take stock of whether or not you share goals, values, standards for your future together. And if you don't share a ton of those, I talk about this in my book, The Art of Attracting Authentic Love, and I call it substantial compatibility. And so what that really means is that you have more in common with shared standards, values, goals, ideals, plans than not. That is really important for a sustained long-term relationship. So if you find that you really hardly have any values and standards that you share, I really want you to think about that as a big red flag for the future of your relationship. And number 10, this is one that, again, just gets ignored by so many women because you're so smitten with him. But this is a huge clue for you to really pay attention to if your friends and family don't like him. Now, they are not trying to keep you from having the love of your life. If they're truly your friends, they want you to have a wonderful love relationship, and hopefully your family does too. So if they indicate to you that they really don't like this guy, I know it's hard, but you need to sit down with them and say, okay, I'm ready to hear it. I'm really ready to consider why this guy is someone that you don't like and don't think is a good fit for me. I've got to hear it, and I've got to consider it. Because your friends and family, remember, they're looking at this relationship from the outside in. I mean, you're in it. And so they have this vantage point, and they are seeing probably how he looks at you, how he behaves with you, how he treats you in public, the things he says to you, and they're getting the wrong vibe from this guy. So I really hope you take them seriously and really consider, is this guy behaving in a way that is really supportive of me? And again, I think what we'll do next week is we'll do a video on little subtle signs that he really is into you. So hopefully today, these things that I've gone over, and I've talked more about them in the blog article below, so please read that. But I want you to really think about if any of these things are showing up, especially in the beginning of a relationship, you need to think twice before actually getting into a committed monogamous relationship with this guy. So I hope this has been helpful. If you like this video, please be sure to click the little thumbs up button below so that other people can find this video and maybe find it helpful. You can also share the link with anyone that you think this would be helpful for. And again, be sure to read the blog. Sign up for the blog if you haven't already, gaylawick.com, and I'll see you soon with another video. Until next time, wishing you all the best in life and in love.